Let's get cracking. So welcome. Thank you so much for coming to my workshop called Dressing for Joy, this is a taster of my new program that I've been working on for quite some time. I've been tweaking and changing, looking at all of the things that I've worked on over the past 10 years and sort of really condensing it and streamlining it. All of the stuff that I work with my one-to-one clients. And I've sort of pulling it all together into an 8-module program that I'm going to be launching in sorry. I'm going to be launching a challenge in September, and then we'll be going live with the program in October. So this is a taster of it. So do appreciate you being here today, and I really I will answer questions at the end. If you have anything as we're going along, pop things in the chat so that I can monitor that and make sure that I do answer questions in case you forget. Okay, so a little bit about me before we go any further. A little bit about me. My name is Lisa, as you know. I've been working in my business now for just over 10 years. Started my business after I'd had what I call my annus horribilis in 2013. I had been really struggling with my work, working in quite a toxic environment, made me ill. And around the same time, I found out that my husband was having an affair, not my current husband, my ex-husband was having an affair. And basically my world imploded. I stopped working, and I just wanted something to do that would be kind to me and help other people. So I went back to my roots. So my background is in textile and fashion design. I worked in the 1980s and early 90s in the fashion industry, working in a studio designing fabrics for printed textiles that went across all the high street brands. So you name it. If you were wearing something that had any kind of pattern on it in the 80s and early 90s, then I might have had a hand in it. So I did stuff for Marks and Spencer's, British Home Store, C&A, Littlewoods, the sweater shop, the sock shop, all the big brands, Prior to studying textile design, I wanted to be a makeup artist. I started doing my training to be a makeup artist, got to the end of that and realized that probably being a makeup artist wasn't going to be able to be my thing because I've got a hip problem. I did have a hip problem, and had it all my life. Realized I wasn't able to stand for very long. So that's how I ended up going into textiles and the fashion industry. When I'd had my son, so I carried on working in the textiles and fashion industry until I got a job lecturing. I was lecturing, working in art colleges for quite some time, and then I had my son and decided that the commuting wasn't great. So I did full circle, went back into working with makeup. I don't know if any of you remember the Virgin V parties, the Richard Branson Virgin Cosmetics company. I started working for them and I did really, really well with them. Absolutely loved what I was doing and ended up meeting Richard Branson several times. I had quite a big team, recruited quite a big team, and that was brilliant. So all the time my son was little, I was there for all the sports days and things, and it worked really, really well until the company changed. Things altered about how they were doing things. It was a bit mad. They'd had a management buyout. It wasn't quite the same. So I decided to go back in teaching, which is how I ended up at the prison, working in the prison education department, teaching art, got promoted very quickly, and then ended up as the prison education manager, which is the job that made me ill, which then I finished and started doing my business. So that's me in a nutshell. So essentially what my business is, it's brought all of those things together. So makeup, empowering women, which is what I did with the Virgin V business, all my teaching skills, all my lecturing skills, and my interest in colour, clothes and textile design brings it all together. And here we are. So I am going to go through the 8 modules that are in the new program that I've created, and I'm going to give you a taster of each of the things. So hopefully you will pick up lots of hints and tips as I go through things. There should be enough still for you to take away, even though it's only taster sessions. So let's have a look what the first module is. So the first module is called Fabulous First Impressions. And if you're in business, you will know that people buy people. People buy people that they like, people by people that they know, they like, they trust. So everything that you are, the way that you look and all this stuff that you're putting out on social media, all your graphics, everything that you do in business or in life, people are making snap decisions on that first impression. And people always say, oh, we've got 7 seconds to make a first impression. And actually, you haven't. I did some research on this. And the latest research I could find when I was doing my research was 2006. And in 2006, they said then, it was scientific, some kind of scientific magazine. They said that you could, it was 1/10 of a second. That was in 2006, obviously quite some time ago. And I expect with the way things have moved with technology and so on, that we are much, much faster at processing and making those judgments. And we none of us like to think that we're judging, but we all are. We were making snap judgments about people around there just from the information that we're taking in, even subconsciously. We're making judgments. So I've got a little exercise for you to do, and this is something I've been doing for years and years. So whenever I've done a workshop or anything like that, I've always used this exercise, and it's a really good example of what I mean when I talk about how we make first impressions. I'm going to show you some glasses. So it's the visual communication and instant impact on what your first impressions mean. Now I'm going to show it. So I've only got 2 pairs of glasses here, but I want you to pop in the chat what you think about the kind of person who might wear the glasses on the left, and the kind of person who might wear the glasses on the right. So whether they're introvert, extrovert, whether they are bold, whether they're shy, whether they're retiring, what kind of age they might be, even gender. Just pop a few of those things in the chat and let me see what you've got to say. Glasses on the serious, yeah. Extrovert, woman, bold on the right, yeah. Okay, so whenever I do this, bold, strong, yeah. So it's a similar kinds of words. And this is without conferring. You're not chatting with each other. You're coming up with similar kinds of words based on the message, based on the glasses that you're seeing. So this just is a real snapshot of the kind of thing that I'm talking about. So even just from looking at a pair of glasses, you can make a decision about the type of person. It might be wrong, but it's about how you are perceiving that person. So again, if you think about just the difference between, I don't know, if you've got somebody who's using a Bic pen to write with, so one like this, a Bic pen to write with, and then somebody else who's got always uses a fountain pen, that says something about them as a person. So, and whatever that means will mean different things to you. So whatever you decide writing with a fountain pen means something to you. It'll mean something else to somebody else. But it's about us creating those stories and those messages and that narrative with how we look. So she likes cats on the right. You struggle to judge. It's your job not to. Yeah, and none of us like to think that we are judging, but it's scientifically proven that we make lots of decisions subconsciously about people, whether we want to or not. We are taking information in and we are processing it, and our brains are activating it in some way. So it is a real thing, and it's something that you can control, whether you're a woman in business or not in business, but it's something that you can control to a certain degree. So if you think about, so the kind of work that I do, if you think about the kind of work that I do, and I turned up, first time you meet me, I'm going to a networking meeting or I'm presenting on the stage, and I look like a bag lady. I look like something the cat's dragged in backwards. My clothes look messy and crumpled, but I'm talking about image and clothes and confidence, and I'm sort of standing like this, and I'm sort of speaking very quietly. I am not going to create a sense of authority and credibility if I look like that. So once you get to know me, if I turned up in my pajamas with my hair not washed or whatever, and I've already established my authority with you, then it's different. But when it's that first impression, and when you're wanting to be, if you think about, if you're in business and you're putting stuff on social media, if you put your website and that kind of thing, you want to, as much as you can, sort of maintain an element of control over how you're being perceived. And you can do that with colour and clothes. And it's like you're a walking advert for what you do as a business. So there was a whole load of stuff done. There was a guy who was dressed as a doctor, and he'd just got a stethoscope around his neck and a white coat on. And then the same guy was in, I think he was in a football shirt or something like that, and he was showing all his tattoos and things. And the perception, he looked quite different, looked very, very different, bald head, shaved head. And he looked very, very different. And it's kind of about that difference and creating that visual, how you want to be seen. So there are ways that we can look and control that. So I'm going to move on to my next slide. So this is about the second module is about you. It's called your synergy of soul and style. So this is when you are your brand and you're bringing your what's on the inside to show what's on the outside. So things that are really, we're going to really hone in module 2. We would hone in on what is very much you. So when you've got clothes in your wardrobe and you only wear a small percentage of them, there'll be a reason why. So it's about you sort of understanding why you've got those clothes in your wardrobe, what it is about them that's stopping you from wearing them. So there's some analysis around that. Now I have got a quiz, and I'll drop you with the link with my quiz. I've just updated it, which helps you get an overview of the kind of things that you like, the style personality and your brand personality. So that is something that we can do, and we will look at that to help you establish why things are, you can really like something that you've got in your wardrobe. When you can put it on, it just doesn't feel quite right, or there's just something not quite right about it. And that's usually when it's down to your style personality, your innate style personality. And you can like things on other people, but they're not right for you. So it's about really tuning in. And then it's about when you tune into that and you've got your thing, your stuff that you really like, it helps you sort of, you've got an air of confidence, you walk taller. When when you've put an outfit on and it makes you feel good, you sort of, you've got a bit of a swag, you feel like $1 million. So you're going out that day when you're feeling like that, you're going out that day and with a different mindset, a different way of thinking, a different way, you've got a different aura about you. Your energy is different. People pick up on that, and people will see you as being, so this first impression again, people will see you as being more confident, and more credible, just because of the way that you are holding yourself, more authority. So it's about you saving time and money as well. So all those clothes that are in your wardrobe that you never wear, it's able for you to sort of tune in to, so that you don't make those mistakes again. When you know why you like what you like and you've sort of done some analysis around it, then you don't buy things again that aren't going to make you feel good, that aren't going to end up in the wardrobe unworn. It means that it's a big piece of work, but when you've done the work, it means that you've got clothes in your wardrobe. Everything that you wear brings you joy. Everything you put on, you enjoy wearing it, you like wearing it, you feel good in it. So you've actually you're creating that sense of confidence, that air of confidence on purpose. So hopefully that all makes sense. Now I'm rattling through these so that I can answer questions for you at the end. Let's have a look. So this is a really good quote that just, to me, it just sums up a lot of what I do. So the way that we dress affects the way we think, the way we feel, the way we act, and the way others react to us. So it is very much about you really owning who you are and telling that story to the world by how you look. So I made a conscious decision a few years ago. I really love pink. As you may know, if you follow me, you'll see there's a lot of pink. There's a lot of pink in my branding. I wear pink a lot. but I didn't have much of it in my wardrobe. I'd gone through this stage, like I say, back in the day, I used to always just wear black. It was like slim in black, and I'd wear black, and it was just sort of like, you know, trying to minimize myself back in the early days, when I was really miserable and going through my what I call my dark years. But more recently, I started looking, and I thought, I really love pink, and I haven't got a lot of it in my wardrobe, so I've made a real conscious effort over the last few years to buy more pink. And I absolutely love now when I open my wardrobe now and I see all this pink. There's navy blue, there's a lot of grey, there's quite a bit of black still, but I only wear it with other colours. I don't wear black on its own. But there's teal, grey, mostly pink, navy blue, grey. So all the colours that are on my colour palette, and it just brings me so much joy. And I've gone even further in the last 12 months by buying more sequins, because I love sequins, and I've really wrapped up my sequin buying, so that I'm not just saving it for Christmas either. I went out for lunch the other week with Paul for his birthday, lunchtime, Nottingham, in the afternoon, with a full length sequin jacket on, and it might have been over the top for some people, but I felt great in it, and I just loved it. So it's about that, and people will look at me and look at her in her sequins on a Tuesday lunchtime. Yeah, look at me and my sequins on a Tuesday lunchtime. Great. And that's the kind of feeling that I want you to sort of have with your clothes. Okay. So module 3 is about unearthing your uniqueness and integrating your individuality. So it's really about embracing your uniqueness. So it's sort of going even deeper into the you within you kind of thing, looking at your skills, your knowledge, your experience, and everything that you bring into the table. So I call this your pie ingredients. So your personal brand, you are your personal brand. You're a walking, talking advert for yourself. Yeah, whether you're in business or you're not. But what I find quite often is the women who I tend to work with and who are drawn to working with me, who I attract, tend to be women who are on some kind of second career. They've either taken early retirement, they've been made redundant, or they've made a decision at some point that life's too short. They want to move on, they want to do something different. Because they want to do something different from their original career. They're in this space where, like me, you know, I've started my business. I had been in business before with my Virgin V stuff. That was like almost you were self-employed, but you'd got the company to look after you and provide everything for you. So it wasn't essentially like starting from scratch. But it's about what happens in that transition period. A lot of the time people lose their identity. Women lose their identity for whatever reason. So used to being mum or looking after elderly parents, or that sandwich generation. The kids are sort of got a bit older, but then you've got your older parents to look after, and you're sort of squeezed in the middle. Divorce might have happened. There are lots of different things, but you sort of lose yourself for whatever reason. And what's really important about this whole stuff about just dressing for joy and the whole sort of dopamine dressing and the real expression of who you are, it's to remember who you are, and to think about all of your transferable skills and all your things that you will put into your pie, all your pie ingredients. So the reason I use the terminology about pies, if you ever watch Bake Off or anything like that, they've all got exactly the same recipe with exactly the same instructions, and there'll be 8 of them, 12 of them, however many, and they will all follow it to the letter, and they'll do it, and they all look slightly different. So there's lots of it's because of the way that they've done things, the way that they put things in, the way that the proportions might not be right. There might have been an extra little teaspoon of stuff here, a little bit of teaspoon of stuff there, whatever. Everybody's end result looks slightly different. So even on paper, if somebody is saying this, you know, looks the same as they do the same thing as you, they won't, because they haven't got your lived experience, they haven't got your skills, your knowledge, and all of the stuff that you bring to it. So what we really do at module 3 is looking at what your pie ingredients are and bringing it all to the table, and then really picking out the bits that are really important to you that you want to be showing to the world. So it might be looking at skills that you've had in your previous life. So, for example, for me, when I first started in my business, I had retrained and I'd done my qualifications in colour analysis, which is something that I'd been obsessed with for like 30 odd years, but I hadn't formally trained to do it. And I invested when I set up in my business, I invested some money, formally trained to do it. So I got a certificate. And so in my head, first networking meeting I ever went to, and I'm talking about stuff. And I remember feeling and putting across that I wasn't very qualified, I wasn't very experienced because I'd only just done my qualifications. And I completely forgot about the years and years that I'd worked with colour in the design studio and working for all these high street stores and working in education and teaching other people how to design, mixing colours up to like Pantone reference accuracy by eye in the lace market in Nottingham in this studio. You know, I dismissed all that because that was all before, and it wasn't, even though it was relevant, I disconnected it. And sometimes people forget what skills they've got and what they can bring through and what they can transfer. So that's a really obvious one for me, but it's about those transferable skills and how you then show them and in your brand, and how you are your brand and how you reflect that. So that's the pie. The duck is about the duck words. So we look at how you want to be perceived, and your duck words. So I say duck words because it comes from that whole. I don't know if you've heard the quote: "If it looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, and it swims like a duck, then it's probably a duck." So it's going back to that first impression and that holding the managing how people sort of perceive you. So how do you want to be perceived? So it might be that you're one way now, but you want to be perceived in a more amplified way. You want to ramp things up a little bit. It might be that you're feeling a bit meh, a bit boring, a bit kind of, no, I want to. So it's like, what do you want to look like? So they're your duck words, so that we have a list of words that you then really reflect on. So when you are looking at your wardrobe, when you're putting your stuff out there, you've got a checklist you can tick against those words. So maybe 5 words are what you create as your duck words, and you get your 5 words, and it's kind of like, okay, so mine are sassy, stylish, creative, fun, and vibrant, for example. So when I'm putting stuff out, I'm like, you know, does it sound sassy? Does it look sassy? Does it look creative? Do I sound creative? Does it sound fun? Does it look vibrant? So if I don't tick at least 3 or 4 of those, then perhaps things need looking at, because I'm not reflecting myself, how I want to be perceived, how I want to show up in the world. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. So we've got your duck words. And the other thing as well with this exercise, the duck words and the pie ingredients, it removes this as much as possible that sense of imposter syndrome that we all get, whatever you want to call it, insecurity, imposter syndrome, am I doing the right, am I good enough? It sort of helps you have something to come back to, think, yeah, I am actually, hell yeah, I've got this experience, I've got that experience, and so on. Because sometimes just can take somebody to knock us off our perch a little bit, but it's set to remind you. So it's very much about that self-awareness and really tapping in, and becomes your USP when you are delivering your work. Okay, so module 4, this is about colours. So cracking your colour code. I think code's just slipped off the bottom there on my slide for some reason. Well, cracking your colour code. So like I say, I'm a real expert in colour. And I don't say that lightly. I've been working with colour all my life, from, you know, colouring in when I was a kid, right up to makeup, choosing makeup when I was a teenager, when I was doing my qualifications then, right through to my design work, and everything that I've done since, and obviously now with my colour analysis skills. So like I say, I trained with colour. I trained in the system. You may have heard people talk about spring, summer, autumn, winter. That was the initial system that I trained in. What I found with that one, that it was too broad. There wasn't enough detail in the categories. It's like everybody falls into one of these. And it was, there was just, you could be like at one end of the winter spectrum and somebody else could be at the other end, but you're giving them the same colours. I wasn't happy with that. I retrained and did the Colour Me Beautiful system, which talks about soft and light and deep and warm and cool and so on. That one was okay, still didn't float my boat entirely. There was still issues around that, I felt, because when you look at colour analysis, what you're doing is you're looking at the combination of your hair, your eyes, and your skin. Now, obviously, your hair colour can change. It changes over time. Your skin and your eyes will not change in as much as your skin undertone is always going to be cool or warm. And yes, but they do lose pigment a little bit. So, and as we get older, like I say, as the majority of people I work with are of a certain age and are starting to lose pigment, there wasn't enough breadth in either of those systems for me to be as accurate as I wanted to be. And I was creating my own thing, which was quite time consuming each time when I was giving them palettes to work with. Then I discovered this lady in Australia who I trained again with, invested more money and trained again. And I now work with her system, which has got 18 categories to choose from and is far more accurate, especially with the sort of loss of pigment in terms of greyness with hair and so on. So I can do that very, very accurately. But what I help people do with colour is I give them, so you get a swatch. If you have your colour analysis, you get a swatch, which is sort of 50, a summary. You get 50 colours, which are like a summary of the kind of things. This is my one. So you can see it sort of matches what I'm wearing. And a digital, you get digital swatch as well. But it is a summary. So what I help people do is work out what colours work for them and what colours don't. Because there will be some colours that work better for you, and we will help sort of create a power palette. So your power palette is going to be the colours that make you feel good, but also make you look good as well. And it might be that they're really bright, it might be they're a bit more muted, a bit darker, lighter, so on and so forth. Everybody can wear every colour. It just depends on the tint, the tone, and the shade. Now, tints are colours that have added white to them, so they tend to be a bit lighter, a bit more pastel-y. Shades are colours that have added black added to them, which tend to be darker. So these colours on the right hand side of the screen here are shades. And then tones are the grey, more greyed off colours that have got a bit of grey added to them, so a bit of white and a bit of black. So these colours on the left hand side are just slightly subdued, slightly greyed down a little bit. And it's about matching the sort of brightness, the contrast level of the colours to your natural colouring. So back in the day when I'd got really dark hair, I could wear my lovely bright pink, a lot of really bold colours, really striking colours, without there being an issue. And especially I wasn't, you know, even when I wasn't wearing glasses then. These days, when I'm wearing, if I'm wearing the bright colours, especially the bright pink that I really like, I need something else to help draw your eye back up here. So my glasses do it, these dark glasses do it, because they're quite bold. So you sort of, your eyes are drawn back up here rather than sticking here with the pink. If I take my glasses off and I've got the bright pink on, no lipstick or anything, I just sort of, my face disappears and all you see is the pink. So an easy way for you to do this test, if you like, is to do what I call the blink test. And you look in front of the mirror, you put your colour in front of you, put it here, or where are you wearing it? Stand in front of the mirror, preferably without makeup on. Close your eyes, open your eyes quickly, and what do you see first? If you see the clothing first, then it's probably too bold or too bright or too dominant for you. If you see your face first, and your clothes at the same time, then we're all good. So that's a really simple way of doing it. Ideally, you want to establish whether you've got cool or warm undertones. Um, that's always sort of a thing that really helps. But also, a simple way is if you look at your eye colour, if you look really, really closely in your eyes, you've got lots of different colours in your eyes. You can wear any of those colours that are in your eyes. You know they're going to suit you. That's a really, really simple, tip. Now, there's a lot more to it. And I've got a whole course on colour, so we've not got time to go into it. I can't explain it all now, but it is something. There are lots of different simple ways that you can work out what colours are right for you and that help you look good as well as feel good. Now, obviously, I've have to work out ways for me to wear my bright pink now, because rather than it's not wearing me. And it'll be the same for you if you like colours. There'll be some colours that will wear you rather than you wearing them. So it's about how you rescue those. So there's lots of stuff we can do around that. The other thing as well around colour and around your power palette and so on, it's about it's about understanding the psychology of colour. And if you understand the psychology of colour, you will be able to assess whether things are sending out the right messages for what you want to say, rather than the wrong messages, if you like. So just as a really obvious example, so black and white, two opposite ends of the spectrum, very, very contrasty, very high contrast. Black and white together convey authority. So if you think about like police, the official police uniforms, prison officers, judges with the black cloaks and the wigs and so on, all of the authority sort of figures use black and white to convey that authority and that sort of seriousness. And it's very much about, so if you were moving into a softer environment, and needed to be seen as more approachable, then wearing something that is really high contrast, like black and white, will be sending out the wrong kind of messages. You're basically saying, keep your distance, back off, I'm in charge, not come and talk to me, I'm approachable. So it's about understanding from your palette what colours are going to be more representative of the type of message that you want to convey. So if you want to be seen as warm and approachable, then wearing colours that are not quite as contrasty, wearing colours from your palette that are going to meld better. There are certain colour combinations that suggest fun. There are certain colour combinations that suggest innovation and creativity and that kind of thing. So we can sort of look at all that and fine tune all that. So it's not just about what you wear, it's about what you're setting out and part of your brand, and how you then represent your brand and the messages that the colours that you use might be conveying. And obviously it's different in the Western world. The psychology of colour means something slightly different in the Eastern world, depending on the colours. So it depends on who your audience are as well around that. Okay, so module 5, clothing cuts for confidence. Now, this is where I'm a bit of a maverick, really, around in the style world, in the image consultant world and that kind of thing. There are, in inverted commas, rules that you can follow. That may help you feel more confident, that may help you feel good in your clothes, depending on your body shape. Where I don't like going is, oh, you should wear this if you are, you should wear that if you are. To me, it's not about the shoulds and anything to do with, you being an apple or a pear or this or that. It's about how things make you feel. So it's about individual appropriate. So when in my book, I talk about the BS, the body shape, and the FFS, figure flattering style. So it's like BS and FFS. It's a bit of it's my least favorite sort of thing about what I do, because there's a lot of shoulds around it, and I'm not into the shoulds. for example, I've got short legs, my legs are a bit chubby. I shouldn't wear ankle straps because they make my legs look shorter and wider, and I fucking love ankle strap shoes, so I've got about 7 or 8 pairs of them. Stuff like that. It's about making informed decisions. I suppose at the end of the day, it's about making informed decisions so that you know if you've got a big bust like I have, you wear a high neck top, it's going to make your bust look bigger. Is that going to give you more confidence or is it not? That's up to you. So that's where I'm kind of coming from around some styles will help you feel better. And in other people's eyes, maybe who are judging, look better. It's up to you. If it makes you feel good, who cares? Because at the end of the day, all of this work is about you dressing for joy and about you dressing for confidence. It's about making you feeling good with what you're wearing. If you feel good, but it doesn't follow the rules, does it really matter? No, probably not. You got that here from me. So it is very much about dressing to impress yourself. It's about that whole back to the air of confidence, the standing taller, that kind of thing. So there's lots of stuff that I can help you with in terms of scale and proportion. That's essentially what it really is, what it's really all about. It's about scale and proportion. It's about where do you want to draw attention to, where do you want to detract attention from. So I call it the party zone and the quiet zone. So it's kind of, if you might have big boobs and you might like showing your cleavage, you might be really proud of them, so you want to draw attention to your top half of your body. For somebody else with big boobs, they might want to detract from their big boobs. So it's kind of like, how do you then, so there's no one rule, one size fits all, literally no one size fits all. So it's about how do you want to dress in a way. If you want to detract attention from an area, then you keep details to a minimum. You can wear highly patterned things on your top half. You can wear sort of things that are fitted rather than a bit skimming rather than form fitting. Plain colours make things, so if you're wearing a tight top in a plain colour, that'll make your bust look bigger, whereas a plain top in a pattern won't. So there's lots of different tweaks and tricks and things around that based on how you particularly want to show up as an individual. As a general rule, things that are lighter and brighter will draw attention to that area. So if, for example, you think you've got a big bum and you're conscious of your bum, if you wear light or bright coloured trousers or skirts or something light or bright on your bottom half, it will automatically attract attention to that area rather than your top half, if you've got a darker colour on your top half. So there's lots of things around how you put an outfit together, and it is about outfits rather than clothes. So the whole sort of getting dressed is about putting outfits together and how you style things rather than just putting things on to wear, if that makes sense. There's a difference. So module 6 then. So we come to the 8. Most people wear 20% of their clothes 80% of the time, and having a clear out, having a cathartic clear out really helps you with the whole dressing for joy concept, the whole getting rid of things that aren't doing it for you. It really is about you working out what's right for you and then thanking the clothes that are no longer serving you, getting rid, and then making sure that when you open the wardrobe in the morning, all the clothes that are there are right for you and that you have got the opportunity to see things clearly and you can get them out of your wardrobe and know that everything in your wardrobe is going to fit you, you're going to love it, and it's going to make you feel good. So that's the first step, is for having that clear out. So that whole detox system, it can take months, it can take weeks, it can take hours. It depends how many clothes you've got, how many things you're hanging on to, and why you're hanging on to them. Now, so this goes back to your style personality. For people who've got any kind of romantic in their style archetype whatsoever, they will hang on to clothes because they tell a story. They've got memories or emotions attached to them, so they find it hard to get rid of things. Then there's the whole, oh, I'm not getting rid of it because I'm going to slim back into it. Things that might not fit you anymore because your body shape's changed. And my sort of thing with that is, are they a carrot or are they a stick? I know for sure when I had a wardrobe full of clothes that were too small for me, once I'd put a lot of weight on when I was pregnant with my son, I kept all my older clothes in the wardrobe, and every day they were a stick that I would beat myself up with. They were making me unhappy because I'd be looking at them, and rather than inspiring me and thinking, oh, I'm going to get back into that, I love that, blah, 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 I was like, oh, my little voice inside my head was like, oh, you fat cow. You're never going to be able to wear that again. Stop eating biscuits, get away from the biscuit tin or whatever it was. And that's what I was essentially saying to myself every time I looked in my wardrobe and saw things that didn't fit me anymore. So if you don't want to get rid of things because you are intending to genuinely get back into them or whatever it is, you want to wear again one day, then my advice would be, if you're not wearing it at the moment and you can't part with things, hide them, move them away, put them in a suitcase under the bed, put them in a bag in the loft, whatever it is, so that you can see the clothes that you are wearing on a daily basis and a weekly basis. The other tip as well around wardrobe is, when you've done this work and you've sorted all your stuff out, you've got everything hanging in your wardrobe that you're intending to wear, put all the hangers so that they're facing the wrong way, if you know what I mean. So they're hanging that way towards you. The little hook is that open on the hook. And then when you've worn it, put it back in the wardrobe and hang it back the right way. And after a few months, you'll be able to see what you're wearing and what you're not. And then that'll give you an opportunity to have another cull, because it's not something that I would recommend you doing all in one go, because it can be quite an emotional process for a lot of reasons, depending on how you feel about your clothes. Also, as well, the people, oh, well, I paid a lot of money for that, I can't get rid of that, or well, that'll be fine, it just needs shortening. If it's not going to get shortened, get rid. If you've paid a lot of money for it, maybe take it to a Swish and swap it, see if there's one going on locally, organise one. If you don't want to take it to the charity shop and give it away, or send it to a dress agency and get them to sell it for you, go on Vinted, whatever. There's lots of things we can do about that 80% of the wardrobe that you're not wearing that is holding you back. And the other thing is as well, it sort of saves you time and money, because when you're looking in your wardrobe and you've managed to curate it so that it's stuff that you wear that makes you feel good, you save less time stressing about what to wear. You save less time thinking about what you've got to wear. You know what you've got. You can see everything that you've got, and it's easier to put things together and put those outfits together. So the time and money saving factor is wonderful with all of this. The next step after that, the module 7, is where we look at creating a capsule combo for you. So you might have heard of a capsule wardrobe. Essentially, a capsule wardrobe is when you have done the work around what your style personality is, what your colours power palette is, and the confidence boosting shape, style, so on and so forth. You can then create a combination of clothes that all mix and match and go together. So this particular image that I'm showing you here has got, there were, I think, 33 items in this capsule, including shoes, bags, jewelry, everything. And I created a book, which is available on my website, an ebook, with 101 outfit combinations from this particular 33 items. So, and you can dial it up and down as well. If you get a real combination of smart things to casual things, you can sort of really move in between the casual, smart casual sort of spectrum with your clothing, and just by making sure that things all go together. Now, the easiest way to do it is to have a limited colour palette. So when you know what colours are your power palette, then you only buy things that are in your power palette. And when you only buy things that are in your power palette, they're really easily mix and match. So this is just an example, just using 4 colours. So the 4 colours here are taken from this scarf. There's white, navy, this grey blue, and the hot pink. And then putting together, I think this particular one, again, it might have been 33 items with 101 combinations. So all these are all available on my website. You can buy the sort of the instructions on how to do it. But essentially, a capsule wardrobe, the template that I tend to use most is a 12-item template. And from 12 items plus accessories and 3 pairs of shoes, you can create 72 different combinations. So the template that is this simple template, it's in my book as well. But it's, if you have 6 tops, 4 bottoms, a couple of toppers like jackets, or depending on what season it is. So for summer, it might be the toppers might be cardigans or a denim jacket or whatever. So you've got 6 tops, these 6 items, 4 bottoms, so that's 10, and then 2 toppers, 12 items, 3 pairs of shoes, a couple of scarves, a couple of necklaces, and a couple of different handbags. And you can actually create 72 combinations, as long as if you include in jacket on and jacket off from those 12 items. And I do run a capsule wardrobe demonstration. I do run a workshop occasionally on that. So and people are always like, blows their minds. But it is about making sure that the colours go together and it fits your style, personality, and the shapes that you like and styles you wear. So it's kind of, you can see how the modules all start coming together so that it's a linear thing and it's layers upon layers. So you start building the layers throughout the modules. So this is how we work. But the idea is that everything goes together and we can dial things up and down. And then the last module is called Launch and Leverage. And this is kind of when you are ready to then put yourself out to the world with all this new knowledge and this new look that you've got and this air of confidence that you're creating. It's about you then raising your vibe and then being more visible, showing your individuality, showing your branding and your essence. That's what vibe stands for. So you're putting all that out to the world and increasing and dialing up your authority, your credibility, and making sure that people really get who you are. And that module is about you having some kind of strategy for that moving forward, a really simple, what I've developed over time for me, I think is simple way, so that you never ever run out of content, never run out of things to put out there for your business. You get more eyes on you, stuff. You're more likely to magnetically attract your ideal clients because you're using all that stuff from the pie that we talked about, the duck words, and it's all sort of like coming together, and you really are ramping up and amplifying who you are as an individual. So it becomes showtime. I'm going to stop talking in a minute and open the floor to questions. But showtime is about you being a flamingo, and flamingo stands for fabulous luminaries, always make an impression and never get overlooked. So you're a flamingo amongst the flock of pigeons. That is what my aim is to help you to do.